Welcome to the channel. Today, we're watching and then talking about the Baldur's Gate 3 gameplay reveal. I recorded this intro separately as I was dying with the flu, so forgive the sickness because I'm not down with it. Yeah, sorry, that was bad. Moving on, feedback on the video or game is always welcome. Please leave it in the comments down below. All constructive criticism will be responded to. Hopefully this leads someplace really fun. If you like what you see, hate what you see, or really digging this sweet white trash hero beer we got going on, please click that bell, subscribe, like, whatever you want to call it. I really appreciate it. Helps me beyond words, and it lets you know when new stuff is coming up. Whew, okay, done selling out. Let's take a look. I am super excited for this game. Or grim enough, or whatever. But if you look at this opening scene right here, which it's a very quick snap, it flips right past it. You see skulls. You see this crazy, I don't know if you want to call it tree or whatever, this bone pile here. You have a bunch of bones on the ground. It's very dark and it's foggy. It's very dark right here. And then the opening cinematic, which we're not going to see from the game announcement, showed a human transforming into a mind flayer and literally having his teeth pop off and his nails split and like tentacles shoot out from his mouth and like all the bloody and gore and viscera that came with it. For people to sit there and say that's not dark enough or grim enough, it just totally blows my mind, because when they see the initial part of the game, they say, oh, it's too light. But we'll get there when we see it. But just look at this opening intro, this is obviously from scratch design. How is it not dark enough? That's my first biggest thing I see people talking about. All right, let's go. I'm assuming the eyes that are blinking, that means it's me, right? My main character.
So we have a problem.
It is so good to meet you. Calm yourself.
So this looks very Divinity-like, but looking at the quick selections, what more do you want? What do you want them to change? I mean, if it's done right, it's done right.
I'm Sven.
Great name.
So we're in character creation. I can select my background. So these are all the Dungeons & Dragons backgrounds that you know if you play Dungeons & Dragons. I can change my body type. I can change my race, so I can play as a tiefling, I can play as a drow, I can play as a human, I can play as a Githyanki, I can play as a dwarf, I can play as an elf, I can play as a half-elf, I can play as a half-drow, I can play as a halfling. And there's more, but we're only showing a few. These are the races that will be going into early access, and there more will be added afterwards. And so depending on which race I pick, I get different features. I can also select which class I'm going to play. We have 6 classes that will be available on early access from the get-go, and then we'll just add more as we progress. So I can play as a wizard, cleric, fighter, ranger, rogue, and warlock, and then I can pick the ability points that go with that, and select my skills in which I'm going to be proficient. Today we're going to play an origin story, so we have different origin stories. There's going to be 5 that are going to be in early access. There will be more after. So this is Lizelle. She's the girl you saw in the intro. So she's a Githyanki. Gale is a wizard. He has a very big problem, and that's pretty much that he's going to explode. Shadowheart, she's a dark cleric, so she's got quite a story too. Will is a monster hunter who made a pact with the devil. He regrets it. And today we're going to play as Astarion, who is a vampire spawn. He's a noble. So vampire spawn is not really a vampire. He has a vampire to which he is a slave. He's a high elf, which means that we get to select a cantrip for him. So we're going to pick Mage Hand because we're going to do cool things with it. And all the rest is already preset for him, so we just have to click the Venture Forth button and we can continue our adventure.
And I missed that before. Oh, that's awesome. I missed that before. The fuck? It's pretty badass. Oh. The hell? All right, so again, I don't get the whole not dark enough thing. What I do know is that this is supposed to take place after Descent into Avernus. I have not finished that campaign yet, but I'm assuming that cinematic has to do with what happens at the end of that module. So for anybody who is watching this and wondering what the hell's going on, I can't answer it for you. But I'm assuming it has to do with the module that came out, I believe, in September, and I believe I'm about a third of the way through it. So I really can't speak on where the red dragons come from, why people are flying predominantly evil chromatic dragons. I can't tell you why it looks like the dragons are shifting through planes. I'm not sure if there's gonna be more revealed in the game there later on, but I do know that the Wizards of the Coast did say that this is supposed to take place right after that event, as far as the lore goes. So I'm assuming it's got something to do with that.
So we're going to skip the tutorial because it's not ready yet. And so I'll tell you what happens in tutorial, or at least in a nutshell. We're going to capture that Nautiloid. We're going to do that together with the Githyanki warrior that you saw captured in the intro. And we're going to teleport it to a place called Faerun, more specifically to the Sword Coast, more specifically 200 miles to the east of Baldur's Gate. That was, by the way, the city that you saw destroyed. It's not Baldur's Gate, it was Yartar. Goodbye, Yartar. Oh yeah.
Daylight. It can't be. What the hell's is going on?
So what I forgot to mention is that my vampire spawn normally can't walk in the sunlight. He can't go over running water, and he needs an invitation if he wants to enter somewhere. But apparently he can walk in the sunlight, so that's kind of handy for us. So he's going to try to figure out what's going on. So I can control the camera and put it in third person, so then it's running behind me. Or I can just go back top down and then basically play it in a traditional manner. So I'm going to like going like this, and let's have a look at what we can find. Have a look over there. Sunlight. So this is a river, it's called the Kayontar.
Now, a lot of people are saying this game is too bright, and I'm assuming this is what they're talking about.
So we're gonna have to go in a different
But I mean, you've seen the darkness before he entered, you know, a clear day.
Mango Fisher, the little
Waste of
letter.
perfectly good blood.
The love letter is none of my business. So,
Was the sky always this blue? It's magnificent.
Starden doesn't really care about the fact that everybody's dead. Apple. She is banging at that door, so let's go ask and introduce ourselves.
Blasted doors, What? Oh, it's you. I saw you on the ship. You survived, then?
Suddenly I saw what she saw, felt what she felt. Anger, confusion, resolve.
Ah! You've got the same thing I do. In your head. I felt it.
Okay, so I have a whole bunch of dialogue options. So what just happened to us is because of the tadpole. I was already introduced to that in the tutorial. We call it Mind-Melding. So we both have a tadpole in our head, and we can telepathically connect to each other. But I'm also very hungry. So I'm thinking from the point of view of Astarion, vampire spawn. So you will see that all of my choices will be tailored to being Astarion, essentially. So I'm going to stare at her and realize that I'm very hungry.
What's the matter with you? Has that tadpole scrambled your brain already?
So I can basically say, okay, well, I'll just feed, or I can swallow my urge and feign ignorance, which is what I'm going to do because I need a companion.
Come on. The chase through hell? The creatures? What they did to us? The tadpole? That thing is going to consume us from the inside and turn us into mind flayers. You and I need a healer. Finding one won't be easy in this wilderness. We'll need supplies. I'm hoping something of use might be behind these doors, but I've barely made a dent in them so far.
Okay, so I can offer to help her, but I'm a rogue also, so I can tell her to save her strength, then that I'll pick the lock.
By all means. I'm going to see what's at the top of this cliff. Hopefully there's no more of these creatures along the way.
I will, well, actually, I'll suggest that we join forces and say that that gives us better odds of survival.
Or just company for our final moments. But you're right. Whatever lies ahead will be a little less daunting with support. You can call me Shadowheart.
I love what they did with the intellectual hours. It looks so good.
Vampire spawn who can walk in the sunlight, or can choose not to tell her, which is a good idea. And I can also question her what she knows about the things in each of our heads.
Very little. Supposedly, those monsters breed by planting their
Another ad.
people's heads. Over time, the infected
Choose not to tell her, which is a good idea.
Go back a little bit. Let me run through.
And I can also question her what she knows about the things in each of our heads.
Very little. Supposedly, those monsters breed by planting their tadpoles in people's heads. Over time, the infected victim turns into a mind flare. I don't remember how long it takes, but we should hurry.
So that's a problem.
I love how clean all the facial features are and the hand gestures.
My first companion.
Like the way they have individual digits is fantastic.
But I don't have a lockpick, so that's not gonna. So, whoops, and I got myself into the door. All right, let's see if this fine gentleman has something of use. If he doesn't, so let's continue. See where I'm ended up.
More of those wretched things.
Oops.
And then it gets darker again.
So that's usually an introduction to combat when you see something like that. So let's try and see what that is. Where are they? Oh yeah, this is. So combat is turn-based because Dungeons and Dragons is a turn-based system. So we base ourselves on that.
I love the way these things look.
Be very careful for these.
It looks so good.
Because if they get too close to me, it will be very.
And this is still pre-alpha, or alpha, pre-beta. So, like, it's just gonna get better, right? Graphically.
Seek the high ground in Dungeons and Dragons. Taking advantage allows you to roll twice, which is a good idea because there's a lot of dice rolling going on behind the scenes, as you'll soon see. We translate the dice rolls into percentages so that you don't have to do all the mathematics yourself. So this gives me a 90% chance to hit, so that's a pretty good one. Also, I'll manage, don't worry about it. That's a 45%, that's not so good, but let's try. I'm casting Sacred Fire, let's see what that does. So puny 2 damage. So if you're curious to know how the calculations are happening, they're happening behind the scenes here. You can just hover over it and then you can learn all of the math behind the numbers that you see, which is why Jesse said lots of numbers. We're going to be very brave and we're just going to go up there. And then because I don't want him to die right away.
Very brave.
Shadowheart. Well, she's not really me, she's just my recruit, so Shield of Favor for her. The bonus actions. These are my actions, these are my bonus actions. You just see, yeah, it says AP, it's a little bit misleading, but it's actually just the actions that you have. But sometimes you can have 2 of them. So I'm going to end my turn, and now it's the enemy's turn. See what they do. Unfortunately, they can jump, but that's good. He couldn't hit me. That's actually not that bad. So what I'm going to do with Shadowheart is I'm going to try something that's a little bit risky, but sometimes works. I'm going to use Shove, and I'm going to try to... Oh, it's going to work. Yeah, there you go. So that guy is a little bit further from me, and then she can still hammer at that guy. It's really not hitting very well. And then I'm going to shoot with the Starin at that guy. So yeah, we're doing pretty good actually. All right. Ooh. Ooh.
Something I seen when I was watching this on the first time through right here. He's a rogue, and when he attacks at range, even when it looks like it's probably within 30 feet, obviously there's no advantage there. But I'm wondering if he has advantage, does he get his sneak attack? Because I have not seen a range attack sneak attack yet. And later on, he refers to a sneak attack when he's in a melee situation. So I wonder if they left the mechanic out for balance situations or why it's not in the game.
And see. So they have a reaction, so that basically means if she walks away from here, they're going to hit her, which is not good. So what I'm going to do, and he can't walk. Yeah. So I have a jump. I didn't want to use it yet, but first I'm going to. Oh man. That's jump as a bonus action in VG3. So that means that I can't use another bonus action, but it acts as a disengage also, and it's enhanced by my tadpole that I have inside of me. I do have.
I don't like that at all, because it gives everybody a free disengage basically, which is a bonus action that a rogue gets, so it kind of takes away from the rogue's kit.
So I'm gonna just slap it. There you go. I wanted to show.
Don't like that either because Mage Hand's not strong enough. It can only move, I think, up to 10 pounds. I'm pretty sure those things are heavier than 10 pounds.
We'll see in the next combat how you can actually be much more strategic. Not a famous last verse, I guess, but we'll see. All right. She is hurting, so she's gonna drink my first healing potion. I don't have a lot of them. Then she's just gonna. Well, actually, I don't want to use it up. I'll just smack it like this. Maybe I'll get lucky. Alright, well, can I run even further? No. Alright, here it comes. That's good. Oh, no. He's getting back up. Very high stakes. He's hiding for the shot. That's interesting. Okay. Mage Hand, where are you? Do your thing. 80%. So sorry. Yeah, you can also throw bodies that you find in the world, but it's not working. So that's why I'm using the shove actually. It's working, but it doesn't look as good. Oh, why did I go to sneak? I misclicked. Really? Did I put my hand into sneak? That's really clever. Okay, so yeah, the announcement was that it was going to be live. I think so. There you go. All right, 90% shot. That should, oh yeah, actually I have a pin down attack, which is a action that you get with your weapon. So each weapon that you get gives you an extra type of action. Yes, I know that you're sneaking. Come on. All right.
You got this. You got this.
Hold on. I have a plan. I got a bottle with grease, so I'm just gonna throw. Can you stop hand? And normally he's not supposed to be able to hit like this. Actually, can't you do anything useful? If they want to attack you, maybe. Ooh. Oh, they killed. No, they didn't kill hand. Okay. All right. So they did kill hand. Yeah, hand is not supposed to die, but well, it's going swimmingly. Okay, so I wanted to throw, so I have a throw action. I can throw pretty much everything. In a presentation I did previously, I threw my boots. So for comedial effect, I'll just throw my boots. Maybe I'll actually just kill him. Oh, it doesn't.
Good mark.
Alright. So, that's not that bad, actually. So, where is she? Oops, doesn't want to close anymore. You want to keep on throwing? No, it's enter, yeah. Please close. So she's down, she's not dead yet. So that's the good news. So basically how this works is, this is death saving throws. So each turn there's going to be a roll behind the scenes, and if it's a good roll, then we're going to get a little blue spot like this, and if we have 3 of them, she gets stabilized, which is cool. And if we get 3 red ones, because it's a bad roll, then she dies. And they are going to keep on hitting at her, because if she goes to the negative of her maximum HP, she dies too. So we're going to try to avoid that from happening. But I'm really not interested. Okay, so I shouldn't have thrown the boost, by the way.
So using potions on yourself is a house rule bonus action apparently in this game, because by raw it's not a bonus action, it's a roll action. But it's bonus action when we use that potion.
This looks like a really good hit.
Which I'm a fan of, because I think
Excellent. And we have
at most tables that becomes a bonus action when it's on yourself.
Why? Okay, well, let's hope that this one is going to go right.
Yikes.
Oh. Okay, all right. Okay, so now I'm gonna play it like a pro.
Like a pro.
Do it really well, and I'll show a few other things. First of all, I am gonna dip my bow.
So this is the only thing that's big. So a lot of people say that the Divinity Original Sin 2 mechanics carried over and they feel like it's a Divinity Original Sin 3 or a Divinity reskin. The only thing so far that's truly from Divinity as opposed to a good RPG is right here. Where you can actually dip your arrows into things to basically coat them. So in my games, like my actual real life tabletop games, poisons, acids, anything that you have that you can dip an arrow into and would actually stick and would realistically be able to create an advantage for you in combat, I allow at my table. But this is not raw. This is just a really creative thing that Divinity Original Sin 2 did. But I know lots of D&D players that have been doing this long before Divinity Original Sin 2. So for the commentary that this specifically is a Divinity reskin and this is what people are pointing to, I just think it's good game mechanics. So yes, Divinity Original Sin did it first as far as mainstream, and Larian brought it over. The best of my knowledge, did it first. I don't know any other game that does it. But why would you be upset from a good game mechanic making it into Baldur's Gate 3? That's my question.
Into the fire. There we go. Then I'm gonna press this button, which allows me to enter turn-based.
I love this. It's slow, but I love it.
And that way you can sneak up on people and you can do all kinds of things that they don't expect you to do. So, and then basically the way that works is that they have 6 seconds. Oh yeah, see these are, oh man. I wonder if I can make this shot. It's too far, right? He hasn't seen me. Cannot reach me. Okay. It's the enemy's turn. So they get to patrol for 6 seconds, but they're not doing anything. So that's good. You see that over there? That's explosive. So I'm going to try to get there. I'm going to shoot it. 96%.
Again, environmental destructibility. People say, oh, it's Divinity reskin. Yes, Divinity does it, but it's great mechanics. And I don't have any problem with it coming into the game. I think it's fantastic. I think it's something that if you're not doing it at your table at home, maybe you should think about doing, because it adds a lot of immersion and gameplay outside the box to make combat less dull. So again, it's not D&D raw, and it is from Divinity, but I think you need to stop poo-pooing on good game design if you have a problem with that.
Alright. Shadowheart is still waiting for me?
My biggest problem with this whole combat is that you're level 1 and you're fighting 3 intellect devourers. There's no way.
I feel much more
You die every time.
I'm gonna pin him down so he can't get too close. There you go. This is how it's supposed to be. And then I did actually have a very strong attack, but I never got to use it, which is Guiding Bolt. But I'm gonna use it now. Where's the other guy? Oh, he's still there. No, I'm gonna wait. I'm just gonna do this one. Yeah, very successful also. Just put her in front of it, put on my shield. And alright. He can't move anymore, so that's good. The other guy very enthusiastically coming towards us. She's going to use her Guiding Bolt, which in general tends to kill them in one shot. There you go, 15 of damage. And then we're going to shoot.
You fight well.
That's usually how combat goes in this game, or at least in these kind of games.
Let's see what this guy has. He's got a silver locket, a dagger. I don't need a dagger, I got one already. But the rapier I might want to use. So let's put that one on. There we go. And go forward and explore a little bit more. See what the world has to offer us. Get out of So, like in all of our games, you can move things in the environment, but we've added a whole bunch of stuff that you can do. So you can, for instance, make a stair.
This is awesome.
Why would you make a stair? Well, because you want to walk on it.
I love this. This is so great.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about puzzles. He was one shotter. Oh wow! As I was saying,
It's fun.
puzzles and everything that you have to do in this game or any game to basically advance, being able to stack stuff and using them as stairs is awesome. Like that's incredible.
Okay, so here's another example of why you would want to do turn-based mode. Say that you want to kill this boar or talk to it or whatever. You can now just press the button and then you can just plan your move close to it, and then it has 6 seconds. So if I press my spacebar now, it will move for 6 seconds, and then it's my turn. We'll use this to surprise people and sneak up on them, and hopefully do it really well.
Hopefully, do it really well.
I'll try to jump over. Although I think actually, well, no, I'll just do it. You think you can make this jump without dying? She can. She can. She can. She can. She's pretty badass normally, so. It's usually Astarion that dies. So this is an example of a passive check. So my nature skill was used to discover something, and so if it would have failed, I wouldn't have found it, of course. So I found a little cache. The cache belongs to the Harpers, so it gives me a little secret. But it's especially this thing that I need. This is a potion of speed. It will double my movement points. And it's going to also allow me to get 2 actions, which is really good. Because we're going to try a very complicated stunt, which will probably succeed or fail. See what I did there, but probably succeed or fail. Okay. Oh, well, actually, first we're going to go to camp.
Again, the world's very dark. I don't get why they're acting like it's too bright and
This
light.
seems as good a place as any to make camp. And rest. Huh. Might as well adapt to the Daywalker's ways.
So your camp is a place that's going to expand over time. You will be able to get followers in your camp. Your companions will obviously be here also. And so there's a lot of relationship building happening in your camp.
I'm not sure this is a good idea.
I can tell her not to question me, but I'm going to try to befriend her, so I'm going to ask her what she means.
There are lit fuses in our heads. Sooner or later, they're going to blow. Each hour that passes, the thing inside us grows. We need to find a healer. Let's wake up at first light.
Okay, so I'm going to agree with her, because finding help is indeed our very first concern.
Maybe we'll get lucky. We're overdue some good fortune. Rest well. We'll need our strength.
So on that scene, he talks about being a daywalker, out loud, obviously, and the party is supposed to be reactive to what you do and don't do in the world, and what you do and don't say. So what the person who's in the crowd asks, essentially, is why is it the cleric, who's a dark cleric, which we know that part because from the introduction, didn't respond, finding out he's a vampire. Or a vampire thrall, essentially. What do they say? A vampire spawn. A lesser vampire. So he doesn't really answer that, but that's something that does bother me. Hopefully they'll add that immersion in, because that's kind of what their big thing pushing was, is that it's going to be fully immersive in the sense of what your actions do matter more than any game before, because that's what D&D is all about.
My mind wouldn't settle. Just yesterday, I had been seducing a young noble, luring him to my master's lair. Since then, I've been kidnapped by mind flayers, chased through hell by dragons, and fallen from the sky. And I felt the sun on my skin. I should have burst into flames.
So I can ask myself questions, a little bit of a moment of introspection. I can think of my master, who will be furious. I could be a vampire spawn? Yeah, actually, it's a good question. Can a vampire spawn even become a mind flayer?
The worm in my head might not even have an appetite for undead meat. Until I knew more about the tadpole, I wasn't sure how much danger I was in. I had to understand it, master it. I needed to find someone who knew more about this thing.
So I'm going to try to get some sleep, and I'm going to imagine dragging my old master into the sunlight. And that's a persuasion against myself, so I need to roll, I need to do an intelligence check, basically.
It's a fun little mechanic. I like how that flickers like that. It's
The
cool.
way that works is actually there's a built-in modifiers on it, but we just show you the actual DC that comes out at the end.
I drifted off with a smile, meditating on the flames that engulfed his cruel face.
He's gonna be happy in the morning. Okay, let's continue our little adventure. So all of the dialogues in the game, like literally all of them, have been performance captured, voice recorded, given cinematic treatment. And there hasn't been any compromise because of all the cinematics that we're doing in there, so there's plenty of permutations. And you need to realize that I'm now playing with Astarion, so if we wouldn't be playing with Astarion, we would have different things happening to us. And you'll see that we've gone very far in this.
There may be even more that survive a crash.
I love that. Like
Dead goblins over there. Worth checking for supplies, maybe.
how much detail they're putting into every little thing like that, and how he's talking about, say, hey, we're not gonna. This is only for this. This is for the entirety of the game.
We might need those, you noticed already? No, everything is useless here. I'm gonna go over there.
Also, I'm upset he's not loot gobbling everything. Like I'd be picking up everything I've seen.
That's unexpected. Last I saw you, you were lying in a crucible's worth of blood. An intellect devourer nibbling at your ear. Glad to see my eyes deceive me. I'm Gale. Well met.
So my vampire option is that I send something off. I was certain he would taste like bile. I can obviously draw my weapon because I don't trust the guy. Well, I'm going to take the vampire one.
Speechless? Might be the shock. You went through a traumatizing experience. If an instructive one.
He asked if by trauma he referred to the thing they put in my eye.
Yes. The ocular penetration by an illithid tadpole, which will end with our souls being snuffed like strands of weave caught in dead magic. Not to mention, you're staring at me like a Rashimi at a blackboard. You're no wizard, are you?
I can obviously just decide to feed. But I will tell him that I don't...
I kind of wish he picked that one.
Thin-skinned and a dodger of questions. Usually means the answer's no. Guess that'll have to wait. Primary need now is a healer. I take it you recall the insertion of the parasite?
Not only did I recall it, I said I was already enjoying its effects, referring to the fact that I can walk in the sunlight.
Interesting. Are you aware that after a period of excruciating gestation, it'll turn us into mind flayers? A process known as ceremorphosis? It is to be avoided. I assume you're no accomplished healer either. Powerful cleric, maybe?
Okay, was this a conversation or an interrogation?
Just trying to figure out where we stand. Conclusion? Nowhere. You and I are in a whole lot of trouble. We need help, and I'm not sure where we'll find it in this wilderness. How about we embark on the quest for a healer together?
Yes, I need a wizard. A wizard is going to be very
Most
good.
excellent. Then, without further ado, let's be off. Besides, looks like you keep some interesting company. A woman with shadows for eyes, deep as the dark lake. Pleasure, madam.
Is it indeed? We'll see.
All right. Get along smashingly.
Get rid of this crap.
Let's get over there. Just gonna do a few things for... Oh yeah, actually I killed them, so we're good. So I'm gonna separate him from my party, because I know what's coming, so I want to show you something. And I'm gonna go with them, well actually I'm first gonna position him. Because these guys, this can turn out badly as a combat. So I'm gonna go over here, see me yet. Further, then I'm gonna jump here.
So here, I like the jumping mechanic a lot. This is cool.
Then I'm gonna sneak. And so the way sneaking works
What you explained earlier, the jump is so extreme because of the worm in their head. It's altering their abilities, I guess.
In the clear area. So when you're in the clear area and you get seen, you are called on sight. If you go into a obscured area, then you have to roll stealth d20, and yeah, if you get caught, you get caught. But you might actually succeed. If you're heavily obscured, as you will soon see, you can actually just walk right past them. It's kind of cool because every single shadow suddenly has use. But it also means that you can manipulate shadows, because you can put light or you can remove light. Anyway, he's here standing on his crate because that's what he does. So I'm just gonna leave him here, and then I'll go over here, and I'll well, yeah, why not? I'll demonstrate a small thing that I just discovered this morning. So normally what I do here, well, first of all, I show that you still have all kinds of environmental interactions that you can use, everything that makes sense within the world of Dungeons and Dragons we've put in. So, you can vaporize water with fire, but there's also other cool things that you do. So normally I just show this and I say, okay, well, this is where we are. We start from here.
It looks so nice.
So that you can navigate over a very high and vertical world. But I figured that if I cast Featherfall, then I make a jump.
This is fun.
Boom.
It's not necessary to demonstrate, but it's fun.
If she would have jumped without Featherfall, maybe we can do that too. She will die. Anyway, now he has to walk back, but let me just do that. Featherfall is a very useful spell. The game has an enormous amount of verticality. We'll never get to the places where the verticality is high today, because yeah, we just don't have enough time, and we introduce it gradually to players. But you will be surprised by how much stuff you can do. You can walk on roofs. You can jump all the way down into very, very deep holes. Just don't forget the Featherfall. The problem with Featherfall is it takes up if you use it. Well, never mind. I'm not going to say that. All right, let's do the thing I was supposed to do.
So again, like the liquefying of water and creating steam or mist or whatever, that's another thing that they took from Original Sin and Original Sin 2. And people are saying that it's too much of a game mechanic that's not in D&D. But again, my opinion is yes, it's from another game, but it's good game design, because if you were to hit fire on water, it would evaporate the fire, and then you would be able to use the cloud for a seeking cloud or whatever it is to help basically expand your own spells and own interactions in the world. It's realistic, it makes sense. So instead of getting mad about good game mechanics, why don't people get happy with good innovative game design? Because again, if I was at a table and we're playing D&D and my players seeing that we had water on the ground, they wanted to electrocute the water with Shocking Grasp or lightning or whatever various spell that would electrify water, I would reward the creative play and allow it to happen. I wouldn't shun it because of raw and D&D, what the book says. So a lot of people who are out here and they're poo-pooing on the development and the mechanic of the games, I think they need to stop looking at it from Larian's doing this and they did Divinity before. They need to look at the fact that this is a new game that they're doing in the world of D&D, and they're doing with good game mechanics. Hello, Chris. How are you, man?
Meet these fine gentlemen and say hello to them.
You're both twice as tall as me, but have half the bloody backbone. But we don't know what that thing even is. And what about the crypt? I'm telling you, it's a ship. And the crypt can wait. Mari and Barton have been trying to break in for days. Now we... Stop!
I love this game, man. I mean, I don't know. It's an hour of gameplay, but looks so nice.
Our ship.
Okay, so we have a bunch of persuasion options. I can tell them that I was just looking around. Tell them that the ship was full of monsters. My many comrades were coming. Or I can try to intimidate.
No, it's
monsters, and then
an RPG. Turn-based combat?
And that is going to be a fail.
Based around 5e.
Fine. I mean, it's
You're all hot
okay.
air. Think you can get us to leave that bounty to you? Not a chance. What are you lot waiting for? Get her!
okay. So, luckily for me, I planned for this. And so, if you do a shove out of a sneak position, that is a 100% chance. And so, that works. Okay, so that was my action for this one. So let's try to do this really well. I'm going to use grease. So grease is going to create difficult terrain for these guys. And difficult terrain is basically going to halve their movement speed as they're trying to go over it. So that's
He's really bad at games. He should have off-centered that and put it like in this area right here.
fire on it.
But instead he puts it right on him and now it's cast too far back. I hope you can target randomly the ground and not have to target an enemy with that spell.
Shadow Hearts, however, is going to
But again, it's alpha, so maybe it's not in the game yet.
bolt. 75% chance. I think this guy is the strongest. I'm going to do it on that one.
Yikes. Feels bad, man.
Where am I? So let's see. Well, somebody's
Have you ever played 5e, Chris?
there to protect the other guy. She has.
I know Nikki plays D&D. I'm not sure about you.
So there, turn. Not down. This, that's good. What are you doing? That's a witch bolt, so she can every turn, as long as she's concentrated, she's gonna be able to hurt me. So I need to do something about that. Otherwise, this guy's trying to go up to get his advantage back.
Gotcha, okay. I couldn't remember if that was 5e or 3e.
He changed his mind. I wonder if he's having a problem here. Alright, he might be in an eternal loop. Alright, I'm gonna have to
Good old
I'm gonna have to
bugs.
keep here. No, oh, wow, okay. Difficulty. Yeah, no, it did work. I actually destroyed his ladders secretly with a secret button. Secret. Advantage of a development version. Okay, well, let's just do it to see what it gives, right? Throw item.
No, it was one or the other. I know Paulie was DMing, right?
So with a warrior with feather fall, you could, for instance, combine that and then jump on.
I want to say that was 3rd edition.
However, this was actually really. I bet that it was just a throw. I can still shoot. I need to make this hit because otherwise Shadow Heart is going to be in trouble. Doesn't have to be a pin down. 75% chance. Oh, that's. Okay, good. So that means that she is now home free. She can. Why doesn't she have her spell slot? Oh, well. 40% is not good. I'm going to disengage using my jump. I can do this once in combat. Okay.
I don't like that mechanic.
Oh man. Where
Jump isn't an action in actual 5e.
Gale?
Or a bonus action at that.
Enthusiastic in sending Gale went away. So
Yeah, 30.
starting to.
I love 3rd edition. 3.5 is probably my favorite overall. Oh, he crit him. Oh, that was pretty.
That was good actually.
I like that.
This changes things completely. Alright.
It might get old long term having the die pop up like that, but it was cool for the first time. And you just got crit back.
Shadowheart, how far are you?
Yeah, 5th's good.
Hitting it, right?
It's really user friendly as far as being new to the systems in the game.
No, we're gonna shoot her. She's still far from us. But I don't have any fire left.
This guy has problems like every edition, but
Good.
overall I have less complaints than less complaints than I do
It's too far.
most editions,
Anything I can throw it in?
for lack of better words.
She can dash. Okay, I was gonna make her dash. That gives her double move speed. Well, I'm not gonna get very far, but getting a bit farther. That cancels the entire effect. But maybe if I yell at them, I can't yell. I don't have a yell yet. We will have that, but it's not dead yet. Ow. It's pity that they can't. Well.
I'm assuming she just got crit.
Okay. Now we need to make this. We're not gonna die here. I gotta think. Do not want to restart again. Say it again. Oh yes. Thank you.
That's why you guys are here.
All right. Anyways,
Has it. But we do have we have magic pockets. We have magic pockets. You're basically telling me to run away, right? Oh, I have an excellent idea. This is going to work really well. So let me first try killing him. Actually, did I throw something already? I didn't. Oh, but I can still do my cantrip apparently. Aha. That is my second action though. I want to run away. Let's run really far. Well, actually, I can shoot him again.
so bad at games.
Good work.
I love the man, but he just should not play his own games.
So the cool part is, well, let's first see which direction they're going to go. Actually, because I can go.
Well, you shouldn't be demoing the games.
Make it. But she could still
You should definitely play them.
get close to her and give her a helping hand, so it's going to be up again. Where are you? You're there, right? What I don't want to do is get too close to you. I can't get back here, actually. All right. We're gonna make it. Far shot with 75% chance. So. Yeah. I'll do it again? No, actually. I'll throw a dagger. Makes a bit more sense. Yeah, before, I mean, actually, those things help. It's just trying to kill my party all the time. Such an awesome man. Okay, so this one works well. Yeah.
He's forgetting he has two actions now.
Work though. Oh,
Again.
what I can still do.
He's so bad at games.
Do it again, it's right. I keep on forgetting this. I got the second action.
You got the extra action from the potion of speed, which is a D&D thing.
My boots. It happens that you miss a lot. Why did he get 2 shots anyway? Did he take potion himself? It's possible. So the AI thinks, looks at everything that it... Ah. Yeah. Thank you. Alright, so...
But he's not looting.
Their death saving throw. Oh, she's really dead?
He drives me crazy. My little loot goblin inside just freaks out.
Yeah, he's alive. That's good, I guess. So, alright. We'll worry about her later. We'll leave her there. She deserves it.
She deserves it.
Let's first see what they had to pick up. You mean I can't reach? I'm standing next to her. There you go. Let's actually... let's give this to Gale.
This looks so nice. I love this interface.
Stuff. Make him look more like a real wizard. He's got a beard now. Guys. Worth mentioning, of course, that you can play the game in multiplayer also. And so in multiplayer, you can be multiple origin stories.
The button's right there, man. Take all. Please, just take all.
Everybody's a hero essentially in the multiplayer story. So, and there's a whole bunch of that.
It's right there. Take all.
It's going to be very cool.
Take all.
Play multiplayer. Like for instance, being able to participate in each other's dialogue, seeing what the other options another person is considering. Something that can be quite intense, as you'll see soon enough. Okay, so we're gonna go inside here.
I think it looks really good, man.
Thank you, Gimblebok. Everything all right out there?
I'm gonna claim to be Gimblebok and ask him to let me in. Don't worry, we're safe. If it fails, we're okay. Alright.
You sound a bit shaken, boss. Hang on while I find the key.
You're dead!
Nope, you're dead. And the reason why is because I surprised him, and then when you surprise somebody, you get the initiative. And so this guy has absolutely no chance. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here. I'm going to shoot him down. There you go. And then I'm going to shoot him again the next turn. Seek off. There you go. And then I know he's going to try to run away towards his buddies. I've played this before, which is fine. I'm going to shoot him again. There you go, and that's how easy it can be. Alright, let's see where we end up. So we're now in the small dungeon.
Best part of this, Chris, this is still the alpha of it. It's not even like anywhere near release yet. So a lot of like the areas that aren't perfectly polished, like it's not done yet.
Did I pick up my boots again? Dust. No, I'm bootless. Alright. Take the gold. We get to buy something. Over here. Okay, so I'm gonna switch the lights off.
I like this a lot. This is cool.
I'm going to go sneak mode. Just carefully.
So you can create more darkness so you can sneak better.
And I'm going to put myself into forced turn-based mode.
Nope, it's alpha still.
And I'm going to try to sneak up behind this one.
They're gonna go early access in about 2 months, and then it'll probably be officially beta. Well, they said a few months.
Start turning back, so I'm going to go and stand in the corner here.
There's still some pretty massive bugs, and you'll see them as we go further into this.
Too close, they are not going to detect me. Alright. I'm just going to stand there. No, there she is. This is a really
But it looks nice.
So you have a little hole here. Why? Because this light is creating a zone that she can see in, and then the zone just in front of her. But here, if I were standing here, I would have been actually okay. So let her come back. Oh man, no. Yeah. Okay, don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's supposed to be D&D, man. So it's trying to give you all the choice, which is kind of what I love about it.
Hello.
I love the turn combat outside of combat,
Back. So if I
because then it allows you to set up stuff like this instead of making it super difficult to follow people and navigate the world.
It's okay. It's not that bad. I'm not gonna bite her yet. I'm gonna keep my bite for later. Oh man, come on, really?
I'm assuming shove is replacing grapple,
Okay, so
because again, that's not in the game either. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but it adds a cool mechanic to the game. That's kind of
take my
a little bit of depth.
dipping action. Dip it in the torch. No, not my sword, my bow. I think my arrows actually. That's what's suggested. Do that. Aha. And somebody put a pitch barrel here for me. Sorry.
There's a bug. Ouch. That hurt a little bit. Thieves' tools.
Stick in. creates darkness. So, oh, this is better bow than my bow.
Now you can pick locks.
So
But this, I love this interface. It looks so good. I can't get over that.
let's try to do that again. This time. So the trick here is that I'm gonna try to get into this place, but
No lock, no handle. How does it open?
well, I happen to know. So small spoiler. So we just do the same thing here. Try not to ruin it this time. I'm gonna go in here. Force turn base.
What does that say?
So we're going to create a zone of darkness.
Oh, okay.
Zone of darkness is basically going to cover me
It's a dark arrow, essentially.
so that he can't see me while I'm in there. And then just wait. Pass by. So zone of darkness essentially blocks the vision cone. Probably not doing this very well. Alright. Yeah. Okay, well, we'll just see what happens.
Just see what happens.
There you go. Never mind that he doesn't.
At least there's no skeletons this time.
Nope. Let's go this way. And I want to. I hope it's going to work here.
No, you didn't even need to use the arrow there.
Ah, there you go.
That's curious.
I needed this handle because this handle is a secret handle that opens the door on the other side. Right. So now I'm going to just try to do it the other way. This guy will never know what happened to him. That was actually quite close. Alright. So now he can see me. So I can just pickpocket him. Anything on him. So it's just. Okay, it's a little cutting a little bit short. Alright. That's the report. So the clearness comes from the light, of course. Okay. We're still working on better visualization of this, so I doubt that you're going to have it exactly like this when you get to play it. But Star in the Great Tomb Raider has managed to do something without being detected, which is quite an achievement. Alright, let's continue.
I wish you got experience for that, though, right there. Because the min-max for me wants to go back and kill that guy for the experience, if nothing else. So they need to explain how that's going to work.
Homely.
Right? You don't have to
Because I would love not to be a murder hobo in a D&D game, but
you start to see
I want my fucking experience, too.
the music system is super adaptive to everything that you do. Right, this has a tendency of going wrong, so I'll do my utter best. This is
That's curious.
a tomb. There's dangerous things here. There's skeletons lying on the floor, and then there's things that are popping up. Then I have perception checks that are succeeding, that are failing, so you know that something's gonna happen. And then there's this big thing in the middle. So and inside you find a cool weapon, and a key, and a skull. So we're gonna take everything. And then you have grease appearing everywhere. Then you got fire appearing. Right? So, but I knew exactly where to stand. And I'm going to enter turn-based mode because turn-based mode is also something that you can use to navigate traps. So you got 6 seconds to think, and then the traps get their turn, and you get your turn. So you get the gist. So the way that I figured out getting out of here is Mage Hand. Mage Hand can throw stuff, and so what I can do, you saw that I can make my own stairs, so I can make a stair out of here. Mage Hand is just going to go over here. Let the evil traps do their thing. And then go back to Mage Hand. And I gotta do it the way that I'm doing it because I practiced this, and when I did it wrongly, I threw it too far, the crate got damaged, and then I jumped on top of it, and then the crate destroyed, and then I died anyway, so... there we go. Okay, one more. So having turn-based mode allows us to do much cooler traps and not having you to require to have light lightning fast reflexes in what is a game which has many spells, many actions that you can do. So it's kind of handy to have.
Right, it looks super simplistic here, but
All right.
I'm just thinking like all the crazy things they could put later on in the game because of that mode
Sorry,
that'll allow them to be able to
don't fall.
basically make it to where you have to use this to make it more in depth and more harder, I guess, to get past traps.
Okay, I'm gonna do my little jump now. Maybe there's not enough space. Maybe there's not enough space. There is enough space. Apparently not. Oh, yeah. I wonder if that's a bug that I have. No. Oh, there you go. Okay, so that should work. There we go. This builder blocks me. So I'm gonna send the mate. No! Oh man, why do you have to follow mage hands?
Sometimes bugs are better than the actual gameplay.
Alright, let's see. Oh, well, that's handy, mage hand. The perception check was successful. It's not supposed to have a perception check, but it's good of mage hand to do it. But that's cool because then I can actually throw this thing on that. There we go. So that way, there's no more grease coming out of it. And I'm going to jump. Yeah, I use my jump. Do you think I can make it? Maybe if I dash. I know what I'm going to do, but you have to stop.
Why does he keep following
It's a
the...
bit harder than I expected it to be. So let me. Well, I know what I'm going to do then. All right, this is going to be a little bit non-orthodox, but there you go. So that's going to take that grease away, and let's just see what happens when I get out of turn-based. My crate is broken. Ah, man. Okay. Well, I'll bet I made a corridor here, so that's good. So now we know that you can't trust. I have my dash. Where's my dash? Let's dash. I'll get out of here eventually, but
God, I love this man, but he's so bad at games.
I
Like,
can walk over there and stand in the grease for a second.
why just jump on the tomb? Or why is he walking through the grease after he's trying to go the vision to avoid it?
Alright, go over there. Yeah. Okay. And then make that jump. No, just have to get there now. Well, one more turn now. I'll not jinx it. Okay. Can I dash again? Yeah, that should do it. Don't fall. Don't fall. Okay, we made it outside of the very evil trap. So we're gonna get to the final room of this mini dungeon. So this is the kind of situation you'll find yourself in if you're in multiplayer and you're just dashing off and leaving your party behind. You can always manage. It's just sometimes a little bit tricky.
So many dead. No signs of a struggle.
So we're entering a big room, and so you see a bunch of skeletons on the floor. So you are all gamers. You know what's going to happen. These guys are going to race. Here's a little trick I figured out: is I can take their weapons away. Now, unfortunately, because disarming somebody is actually a valid action, the AI developers are making it so that they will pick up the weapons. That they, if they see something on the floor and they're unarmed, the AI will actually come to the same the conclusion on its own. But luckily, it's not implemented.
He's breaking the game when he knows later on it's not going to be viable.
I'm gonna give this guy a sword just so that we can see the difference between the guys. just want to make sure that the guys with the bow don't have a... Do you have a bow? Ah, there's another marksman over there, yeah. So I'm gonna try the final heist of this little tomb raiding adventure, and if I fail, they'll spot me. And then when they spot me, what's going to happen is that they are going to, well, they'll shoot me, and then I'll die, and then it's these fellas that have to come back and get me, and they are obviously not very good at it, as you can see from their health bars. I'll then consider whether or not I'm going to resurrect them. Oh no. Okay, my perception failed, so I need Gale. So, but Gale has a shortcut. There was actually a, oh, he can also bring Astarion's boots back. So there's an actual shortcut, but I didn't want to do it because when you do it, it alerts the guards on the inside and they all gang up, and then I can't do Astarion on his own. If you shoot this thing and somebody's standing under it, he'll die. But it also creates a hole into the floor. And so, like this, I can jump in it. And then we find ourselves into this room here.
That's pretty fun. I like that.
I can open this room. Shortcut.
Just the world building, the way it's on top of each other like that.
Bandits that are in this dungeon.
It's really cool.
Outside of this door, and they're ready to kill you. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay, let's go that way. So he'll have a better chance at doing succeeding in a history check, which I think no, it's perception. No, actually, let's just try it out. Maybe we won't open it today, so it's another secret. The game is full of secrets. Exploration is heavily rewarded. You will never see all the secrets in one go. It's impossible. So if you're min-maxer, you curse at us. Yeah, thank you. All right, I'm gonna get you out of here because otherwise I can't do my little Astarion on all alone stunt. So I'm gonna send you over here. This is the exit. So this is where in a second Astarion will have to manage to get himself. Okay. Press the button. Click. Get inside here.
A lot of effort to hide one sarcophagus.
Indeed. I wonder what will happen. Just in case. Okay, so the reason why we came here is because
Take all.
We have poison. That's fine because we can throw.
Kills me every time I see it, man. Just take all.
With this Amulet of Joy and Sorrow, which gives you with that spell. So speaking with that is something that you can do with the amulet, provided they have a mouth.
Provided they have a mouth.
Oh, hells. Something just woke up.
Unfortunately, I don't have my... I just realized that this is the reason I keep my speed potion in general. Let's see. Why are you standing here anyway? Alright, let's just hug the wall and wait for him to move. Let's wait a little bit longer. There you go. Okay. This should be easy at this point.
Yeah.
So this is also why we need some better indications so that we're working on.
I love the.
Because this looks bright.
I said like the whole auto combat turn-based aspect's awesome.
It's a heavily obscured zone.
It just adds so much depth to it. I can't get over it. It's so simple too. Like, why don't games do that? Because you can make everything so much more complex when you have that option.
With the potion of speed, I was already out of here. Somebody made me drink it. Thank you for that. But ooh. Well, I'm heavily obscured. They actually have dark vision, so they actually it should have been a check. So I think that the system doesn't register it fast enough.
I'm not in the beta, dude.
But it's fine.
You're such a douchebag.
We're almost at the exit.
I wish.
And and they have no arrows.
A few months, I'll be
Weapons. Look, they all have their
selling my sweet, sweet body for money to get the money to get into early access, probably.
The AI is trying to figure out what the hell am I going to do. I'm going to dash. Where's my dash? That's going to allow me to get very far. Okay.
It's probably like how it was with Division 2. I'll probably have like 300 hours on the game before it even releases.
All right. And then that's my movement bar, by the way. So the amount of movement I have. Gale joins the thing, the action. Oh, I only have 5 minutes left? Oh. Oh.
Dude, yeah, I'm pretty skilled like that, Dylan.
My phone is charging. I forgot my timer, so. All right. Well, I wanted to show you one last thing, so a little bit of audience participation. So let me try to do that as fast as I can.
And here it bugs out. So this is a bug you can't fix. This is the end of the demo, basically. As it said, the game's still in alpha, and there's still some things they gotta fix. But once they get the major bugs fixed, they're gonna move it into early access on Steam. So that's the overall thing. Only thing we really missed was he talks about how great the game is and how happy he is and how it's gonna be great again, and how he wants all of our input and access and blah 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 to look into it more. Yes, Dylan, of course. So the biggest thing that I've been hearing all over everything, which is Twitter, Facebook, social media in general, and then even on like some early reactions I've seen on the internet, whether I really don't want to say who they're from because I don't want to say the wrong thing and then be wrong about it. But everybody's basically saying like three major things: turn-based combat, they don't want it. The darkness of the world's bad, and then they say it's not Baldur's Gate. So three things there we're going to talk about. I hate you so much talking about Fourth Edition. Dude, don't even say that in here. What is that? That number doesn't exist. It goes 1, 2, 3, and then 3.5 was so good they counted it as fourth, so they had to make fifth. That's what happened. So basically we'll cover the three things. If anybody's got questions or comments or rebuttals or topics I'm not covering, by all means throw them at me. Let's have the conversation. All right, so let's start with the big one. It's not Baldur's Gate. All right, it's not. Like it's not Baldur's Gate as far as they're not talking about ball spawn anymore. Which is Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. You find, well, spoilers. If I'm spoiling 20 years later, I'm sorry. But Baldur's Gate 1, you find out you're just boy or whatever it is, then you come to find out that you might be, that you are one of however many people that are fighting to basically become reincarnation of Ball. 2, you fight through, you basically kill the false Ball, and you basically can become him. And then they kind of leave it open-ended, if I'm right. I haven't played Baldur's Gate 2 in about 9 years, I think. Maybe longer. No. 15 years now? I'm getting old. But anyways, so I'm going to replay that eventually, so I could be wrong there, but it's somewhere right in there where you basically become Ball in layman's terms. So when they announced Baldur's Gate 3, I was like, well, how? How are you going to do it? And then the release trailer was where the teaser trailer, where they basically had a town guard transforming into a mind flare, which has nothing to do with Ball. And then Wizards of the Coast came out because everyone was freaking out and they're saying Baldur's Gate title without Ball, what's happening? Blah, blah, blah. And Wizards announced that to their opinion, which is Wizards, they own the IP, the Ball spawn story has been told. The end, it's over. Now, me as a person, I would say don't call it Baldur's Gate 3 then. But beyond that, that's what they did. Whatever, it's okay. My biggest thing is that if you want to argue that Baldur's Gate 3 shouldn't be the title, my rebuttal to that is, then how do you make a full length AAA game with nothing to go on to make a sequel to Baldur's Gate 2? And I don't think you can. So I'm okay with the title because of that one thing. The Baldur's Gate name, and the reason why I'm okay with being tied to the game, excuse me, I'm getting over a cold still, is because in Neverwinter, okay, which I even like Neverwinter Nights. Just go ahead, yell at me now. I'm ready for it. Don't even like Neverwinter Nights. But that was the last game that was a computer-based game or a console, a video game that's considered to be good. And that was what? I mean, we can look it up. So that was in 2002. So that's 18 years ago. So in 18 years, there hasn't been a good D&D release. So in my opinion, Wizards of the Coast branding or giving the IP rights to call what Larian's doing, Baldur's Gate 3, is to say, here is a AAA title that's going to be D&D and it's going to be great. So that's why I'm okay with that. Number 2, turn-based combat. All right, that's the other one that people are just losing it about. People are saying that CRPGs, Baldur's Gate, I want to say started it. And then obviously there's Icewind Dale and there's all the great old games, which I love. If you don't believe me, I can pull up my Steam library. I have probably, on just the remastered editions, I probably have 400 hours between the 3 games. As far as original release and then remasters and everything, I probably have well over 600 games and all hours on all the games. So I played them front and back, all different styles. Huge nerd for CRPGs. I love Pillars of PoE 1. I have not played PoE 2 yet. If you look at my dashboard, there's actually PoE 1's right there. I got to replay that. I'm going to do a Twitch series on that. Love Kingmaker. All right. And that's going to be my biggest thing when we talk about this. So PoE is not based around D&D system. That's my biggest drawback from it. I wish it was. So what do you have to look forward to other than saying a game that is, 20 years old, which is 2nd edition, was real time with pause. So yes, it worked in Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. Technology was not the same. Expectations was not the same. 2nd edition, as far as complexity, it was a much more complex system, but combat, as far as what the player chooses to do in combat, is not as creative as 5e. All right. So when I say that, 2nd edition, the rolling, THAC0, the way armor class worked, what the choices you had with feats and what you could do with your class going into combat was miles. All right. So where 5e is probably a lake, 2nd edition is probably closer to a ocean when it comes to just the overall customization. But combat, dice rolls were tougher in 2e. That's it, combat wise. All right. 5th edition, which is what this is based on, you have move action, bonus action, attack action, and free action every 6 seconds. Multiple classes are built around the utilization of 3 actions per round. So the closest thing we have to compare to that system is going to be Pathfinder Kingmaker. Great game. But combat is clunky. And the reason why it's clunky is because when you go to hard, and hard setting is what you should play that game on, because that is tabletop rules. That's the core rule set without it being nerfed. The reason why normal is nerfed is because the combat system is not operational with real time with pause. Because you can't do all the actions across all of your characters fast enough unless you're just spamming pause button continuously. And if you choose to do that, you should probably just play it in turn-based mode. The rebuttal here is, well, I don't do that and I want to play on normal because I want the game to be faster paced. Frankly, D&D is a turn-based game during combat on a tabletop. So anybody who's a D&D fan, I have a really hard time understanding why you wouldn't like a video game that's turn-based combat, so you can utilize every class the way it's meant to be played and play the system that you are intending to play properly. That's my argument there. All right. Third one, which is I think is probably the most silly of all, is it's not grim enough, it's not dark enough, it's the aesthetic is wrong. All right, and here's where I'm at with that. If you've seen the announcement trailer and the introduction to this now, assuming you're here from the beginning, if not, look it up. All right, so the initial teaser trailer is by far the most grim, nasty thing I've seen in years. My wife literally watched it and then turned it off because she didn't want to finish it because it was disgusting. Which, big fan of. The only thing that becomes close is Diablo 4, which just came out at the end where Lilith makes the skin or blood cape, whatever you want to call it. Other than that, I can't think of any teaser that I've seen for a video game that is more visceral than that. The newest one, he's implanting these what they call tadpoles, which I don't think is a good term for it. They should probably make it a bit more I don't know if I call it D&D-esque, but maybe it's called, I don't know if it's called tadpole. I've never really looked it up, the actual process of becoming Mind Flayer in any of the D&D lore. But the little bugs they plant in their eyes, that whole process is disgusting. All right, and then it goes in there, and then it goes from there, and then the combat where the dragons ripping tentacles off the ship, and they're just beating the crap out of each other. And then in the game, the critical role, which unfortunately the camera bugged, but when he hit that guy, he incinerated from the fireball. Like he incinerated, turned to ash. So as far as the grim brutality of the game, it's there. It just needs some polish. The darkness of the world is very dark. Yes, there's that time where he left the clouds to the sunlight, and then they had that bright moment to show that this vampire spawns walking in sunlight. It accents the fact that he's able to walk in direct daylight. Again, it's part of the game, it's part of the aesthetic, and a lot of the actual visuals, as you can see, they're still in alpha, so they're going to clean them up, they're going to make them look nice, it's going to be sharper, it's going to be crisp. And you're level 1. If you want to see mind flayers ripping off skulls and sucking out brains at level 1, what do you want to see at level 15, 20, whatever the game goes to? Like, you have to leave some time for development. There has to be scale over the course of the game. Otherwise, it's just going to be brutal, 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 and there's no climax, there's no peak. It's just going to become dull and expected, which, again, like, that's not fun. You have to play up and have to have it ramp up in scale for perspective to go back and forth. Overall, I've been saying it since the announcement, in Lariat we trust. I think people who are going on about how Divinity is just a reskin, it's the same engine, yes. It's the same creators, yes. But what I see is a good game. I see deep game mechanics. I see a really good structure and basis for a 5e campaign. I don't like jump. I don't like shove because they're not actual actions, and I think it makes disengage too easy, and it takes away attacks of opportunity, which takes away consequence and choice and tactics. I do like the arrow dipping thing. Like I said, that's a house rule that I use, where if you have poison or whatever, by all means, go ahead, dip your blade in it, dip your arrowhead tips in it, whatever you want to do, go ahead. I think most people who play in D&D can agree with that. And then the other mechanics, as far as like when you're looting, you see pouches, and some of those same container graphics or images are similar to what DOS 2 had, or it's the same. This is my knowledge of Lariat we're talking about here. So I went back to Divinity Original 2. I was part of that early access. They had a lot of the same containers and graphics from Wild Dragon, Divinity Original Sin 1. And people were outraged by, oh, you're just using reskins, oh, you're just this, you're just that. And I mean, like, literally, it was bad reviews and people were getting refunds. It was problems. And they came out, they're like, hey, this is pre-stage alpha, early beta. Like, we're not done yet. We're going to go through, we're going to redo all this stuff. So I don't know anything. Obviously, I'm just some dude sitting in a chair. But I will almost guarantee you a lot of the retextures and reskins that you're seeing right now from Divinity will be altered to a more D&D thematic as the game gets closer to release. Overall, I see nothing. No, not nothing. I see mostly good things. I'm worried about why you're riding red dragons. That's really interesting to me. I really hope there's an explanation for that, because generally speaking, red chromatic dragons and people really don't get along well. Maybe that's just the old D&D nerd in me being angry and shaking my stick on my lawn. I'm wondering why dragons in these 3 riders are able to shift between planes to follow the Mind Flayer ship. I think it's like a Nautiloid or something like that, whatever it's called, through what looked like planes they were shifting through. I really hope there's an explanation there. Which, again, I believe it's because the Descent to Avernus is supposed to be the prequel, essentially, to this, and I'm not through that. So hopefully, once I'm through that, I will understand more what's happening in the opening credits. Sven also said that the tutorial will take you through some of that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's my restream, reveal, whatever you want to call it, react. If there's anybody in chat who wants to talk about it, who wants to open it up and say there's questions or whatever, that's great. If not, I'm going to cut it here. All right. If you made it this far, I really, really appreciate you hanging out with me for what looks like damn near 2 hours. That's awesome. You're the real MVP. Unknown dude, you're just hanging out. So I'll try to make this sweet and short. Thank you again. Please hit everything, like everything, whatever. I also stream on Twitter. I forgot to point it out earlier at the beginning of the video, but if you want to join me, that's what this is all about. I'm trying to build a community, hang out, do all that stuff. We play lots of RPGs, lots of CRPGs, lots of turn-based stuff, survival games. Basically, if it's good, we play it. Good being, in my opinion, not pour us newer games. If you guys want to come by, say hi, see something that we're not playing that you think we should, let me know. We'll look at it.